I still remember the exact second my old life ended. It was 6:47 a.m., the Monday after the longest weekend I'd ever survived, and the bathroom light was too bright. I leaned over the sink to splash water on my face, expecting the same stubble-shadowed jaw I'd shaved every morning for 28 years. Instead, two wide, almond-shaped eyes stared back at me, lined with yesterday's smudged mascara I'd forgotten to remove. My lips were fuller, gloss still clinging to the center like a secret. And my hair, God, my hair, had grown 6 inches overnight, chestnut waves spilling over shoulders that now curved instead of squared. I dropped the towel. It fluttered to the tile like a white flag. "No," I whispered, but the voice that came out was velvet and smoke, nothing like the baritone I'd used to order coffee for the last decade. My hands flew to my throat, then lower, cupping the soft weight that definitely hadn't been there when I zipped up my hoodie on Friday night. The sports bra I'd fallen asleep in, some drunken dare from my sister's bachelorette stash, now strained against very real C-cups. I stumbled backward, heel catching the bath mat. The mirror followed me, merciless. High cheekbones. A heart-shaped face. Legs that started somewhere near my ears. Everything below the neck looked like it had been sculpted for someone else's Instagram. Everything above the neck was still me. Terrified, unshaven brows, panic-blown pupils. My phone buzzed on the counter. "Mark, boss running late equals no excuse. Briefing in 13 minutes. 13 minutes to become Alex Thompson, senior data analyst, guy who wore the same 3 rotating Oxford shirts. 13 minutes to stuff this body into slacks that would never button and a tie that now rested between breasts I didn't have a name for. I did the only thing I could think of. I called in sick. Then I locked the door, yanked every curtain shut, and cried until my new voice cracked. That was day 1. By day 3 I'd stopped screaming at mirrors and started negotiating. The changes weren't random. My driver's license still said M, 5 feet 10 inches, 165 pounds. But the scale blinked 135 every morning, and the measuring tape refused to lie. My hips had migrated south, waist cinched like someone had pulled an invisible corset string. Hair grew half an inch per night. I know because I marked the doorframe in eyeliner like a kid charting a growth spurt. Beard? Gone. The razor gathered dust. Skin? Porcelain where it used to be sandpaper. I wish I could tell you there was a potion, a curse, a glowing amulet. Truth is, I have no idea. One minute I was slamming tequila shots at my sister's party, losing a bet that forced me into her maid of honor dress just for the photos. Next minute I was waking up in a body that dress was made for. I ordered 3 months of sick leave, cashed in every favor, and turned my apartment into a laboratory. First experiment, binding. Ace bandages, sports tape, 2 compression tanks. I looked like a mummy with cleavage. Walking to the mailbox winded me. Verdict, unsustainable. Second experiment, denial. Oversized hoodies, baseball caps, headphones the size of earmuffs. I lasted 4 hours at the grocery store before a toddler pointed and announced, "That lady has a boy voice." The mom shushed him, but the damage was done. I abandoned a full cart of frozen pizzas and sprinted home. Third experiment, curiosity. It started with a YouTube tutorial titled Natural Makeup for Beginners. 30 minutes later I had a face that could stop traffic. Another hour and I'd mastered winged liner sharp enough to cut glass. I told myself it was research, like learning enemy terrain. But when I slipped into the emerald wrap dress my sister left behind, something electric zipped up my spine. The fabric hugged every new curve, cool against skin that suddenly loved being touched. I twirled. The skirt flared. For 3 full seconds I forgot to be afraid. I named her Lexi. Out loud. Just to see how it tasted. "Hi, I'm Lexi," I said to the empty room. My reflection smiled back, shy and dazzling. That night I didn't sleep. I online shopped until the sun came up, jeans that actually fit, ankle boots with a manageable heel, a satin bralette the color of midnight. Every add to cart felt like signing a treaty with the enemy. Or maybe the ally. Week 2, I cracked the door open. Starbucks at 6 a.m., nobody looks up before caffeine. I wore skinny jeans, an oversized denim jacket, hair in a low ponytail. The barista, nose ring, zero filter, scrawled Lexi on the cup without hesitation. I floated to the office pickup counter, heart hammering so loud I was sure the espresso machine could hear it. Nobody stared. Nobody shouted imposter. Just foam art and a casual "have a good one." I cried in the car. Happy tears feel different in mascara. They streak silver. Emboldened, I upgraded to Saturday mornings at the farmer's market. Chunky sweater, leggings, messy bun. I learned that old ladies will tell you their life stories if you compliment their scarves. That buskers flirt for tips, not phone numbers. That carrying a canvas tote makes you invisible in the best way. Each micro-adventure added a new tile to the mosaic. Lexi liked oat milk lattes. Lexi haggled over vintage earrings. Lexi could parallel park in heels, barely. Alex, meanwhile, gathered dust in the closet next to ties that now looked like nooses. But secrets weigh more than buddies. My team started a Where's Waldo group chat about my absence. Mom left voicemails that escalated from "hope you're resting" to "if you don't call me by Sunday I'm driving up." And then there was Sarah, my best friend since freshman dorms, the only person I'd trusted with a spare key. She used it on a Thursday night. I was mid-makeup, one eye fully smoky, practicing my natural laugh in the mirror, when the door swung open. "Surprise wellness check," her sentence died. The grocery bag slipped from her fingers. Apples rolled across hardwood like guilty evidence. I froze, sponge blending brush hovering. "Sarah, I can explain. You're gorgeous." She said it like a question, eyes cataloging every inch. "Alex? Is that you?" The brush clattered to the vanity. I braced for screaming, for ultimatums, for the friendship funeral I'd rehearsed in my head 100 times. Instead, she stepped over the apples, cupped my face, and whispered, "Why didn't you tell me you were magic?" We talked until 4 a.m. I showed her the doorframe growth chart, the abandoned binders, the shopping bag still breeding in the corner. She listened without flinching, then raided my closet and declared half my new wardrobe criminal levels of cute. When she left, she hugged me so hard my false lashes migrated. "Lexi suits you," she said at the door. "But I miss Alex too." "Maybe there's room for both." Both. The word lodged in my throat like a jewel. The following weekend Sarah dragged me to Prism, the queer bar downtown. I wore the black midi dress with the thigh slit, armor disguised as couture. She did my makeup in the rideshare, narrating like a sports commentator. "Contour for the gods, highlight that could guide ships." At the door, the bouncer stamped a glittery star on my wrist and winked, "Welcome home, babe." Inside, bass thumped against my ribcage. Bodies moved in waves of color and confidence. Drag queens towered on platforms, non-binary poets read between sets. I clung to Sarah's arm until a woman in a violet buzz cut offered to buy me a drink. Her name was Juno. She collected vintage typewriters and called me Trouble before learning my last name. We danced until my feet screamed. I laughed so hard my voice cracked between registers, and nobody cared. When Juno asked for my number, I typed Lexi into her phone with fingers that didn't shake. On the sidewalk at 2 a.m., city lights streaking neon across puddles, Sarah squeezed my hand. "You're glowing, babe." I looked up at the sky, smoggy, starless, perfect, and realized I hadn't thought about hiding once. Monday loomed like a guillotine. Return to office emails pinged all weekend. My inbox overflowed with calendar invites and passive-aggressive Slack emojis. I tried on every possible version of me. Alex in baggy chinos and a lie. Lexi in a blazer dress and Tara. A hybrid, silk blouse, men's trousers, pronoun pin that said "Ask Me." None fit. I was a Venn diagram with no overlap. Sunday night I sat on the fire escape, legs dangling 3 stories above the alley, wine glass balanced on my knee. The dress I wore was the same one from the Bachelorette Dare, now altered to fit like it had been waiting for me all along. I opened my laptop and started typing an email I'd rehearsed in my head for weeks. Subject: a new chapter. Dear team. By the time you read this, I'll be in the office. I won't look like the Alex you remember. My name is still legally Alex, but I'd love for you to call me Lexi. She, her. I'm the same person who debugged the Q3 forecast at 3 a.m. and still thinks Mark's puns are war crimes. I'm also someone braver than I've ever been. I attached a photo, me in the emerald wrapped dress, smiling like I'd stolen the sun. I hit send before courage could change its mind. Monday, 8:42 a.m. The elevator dinged. I stepped out in a charcoal pencil skirt, white button-down tucked neatly, hair twisted into a low chignon. Heels announced me click by click. Conversations hushed like a record scratch. Mark's jaw actually dropped. Karen from accounting clutched her coffee like a life raft. I kept walking until I reached the glass conference room. Inside, the entire data team waited. Some curious, some nervous, all staring. I took the seat at the head of the table, opened my laptop, and smiled. Morning, legends. Let's talk conversion rates. The first laugh came from Devontae in the back row. Then another. By the time I pulled up the slides, applause sprinkled across the room. Someone started a slow clap. Mark stood up, eyes glassy, and said, "Lexi, welcome back. We saved you the good whiteboard markers." I wish I could say the rest was easy. HR needed forms. Legal needed signatures. My mom needed 3 tearful dinners and a crash course in pronouns. But every speed bump came with a miracle. The barista started writing Lexi in perfect cursive. Juno texted goodnight poems in lowercase. Sarah threw a Lexiversary party with a cake shaped like a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. 6 months later I stood on the same fire escape, city humming below. I wore ripped jeans and the softest cashmere sweater, genderless, weightless, mine. My phone buzzed with a calendar reminder, keynote speaker, trans visibility conference. I opened the balcony door, let the night in, and spoke to the skyline like it was an audience of millions. Hi. I'm Lexi. And this is the story of how I got stuck between 2 worlds and built a new one exactly in the middle. I used to think transformation meant choosing a side. Now I know it's about expanding the map until every version of you has room to breathe. Alex still lives in my spreadsheets and my terrible dad jokes. Lexi owns the dance floor and the lipstick collection. Together, we're unstoppable. If you're watching this, scared to open that first makeup palette or book that first therapy session, hear me, the mirror is lying when it says you have to pick. You get to redraw the reflection, one brave stroke at a time. Take the dress. Take the name. Take the terrifying, glorious leap. The worlds aren't endings, they are doors. And darling, you hold every key.